Welcome to the Smart Gamble Week 8 edition here. I am Norm, joined by Lily and CJ as always. And if you can't tell, it's Halloween. Week 8 Halloween, all the games. We've got the sexy Tigress there, Lily over there. And CJ, I think I know where you're going with that one. You kind of mentioned it in our debut episode last week.
I am the great Darrelle Revis.
Darrelle Revis.
Yes.
Revis Island. I'm going to be taking the mask off. I got notes I got to look at. But always a fun time of the year. Halloween with it falling on a Sunday. I don't know about you guys. I'm worried like trick or treaters. I'm going to be watching football, guys. Like, don't ring the doorbell when there's a long run going on. But it's also like we're in week 8. I know they've added an extra game to the season this year. We've got 17 games, but after this week, some teams will have played 8 games, and now that's the halfway mark still kind of this season. So it's kind of crazy. We're almost halfway through the football season.
Yep.
And we had a possible already NFC Championship preview on Thursday night with, I would say, all 3 of us. I know at least 2 of us with an upset with the Packers winning, right?
Yep.
We had it cold. Packers cover and outright win.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, does that put any worries on you for the Cardinals, or is that more of Aaron Rodgers without his top 2 wide receivers is still just Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Well, I think with Arizona, they were dominated time of possession and so forth, the yardage. Green Bay just was running back and forth all over them. And yet they were 5 yards away, 1 touchdown pass away from winning that game. So if I'm Arizona, I think tighten a few screws here and there, do a few things, and you're right there.
Right. They were the only undefeated team left. Obviously, now everyone is defeated. The 72 Dolphins can pop their champagne.
Breathe easy.
A little early this season.
Yes.
Usually they sweat it out a little bit more. But yeah, you mentioned that AJ Green. I don't know. I've seen the memes like his controller disconnected or something like that. He wasn't ready for that pass in the end zone.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll start to move into the Halloween slate here in just a minute. We've got I'll be giving some fantasy advice for week 8. We've of course got CJ's pick. We've got Hayden's pick as well. See if he backs another cat this week. And of course, Lily's locks of the week, which we'll get into a second, that you nailed both. But before we do that, we're coming to you live, based mostly out of the Poconos here. This is a Pocono feel show on the Smart Gamble. And it's also a tight-knit family kind of show, right, Lily?
It is. It's all in the family. My daughter is writing and performing our intro song. My cousin's son, Henry, is going to be doing the music for it. And my nephew, Ashton, and his girlfriend, Jamie, are working on the logo. So, and then I'm also going to have family members on the show, as well as celebrities. We are going to have some big names on here. Right. So I'm excited about that.
Nice.
So just a reason to stay tuned every week here. Obviously, we're going to be giving out winners, because that's what we've done. This is the second episode. We started week 7 last week, and we've given out winners already. Yep. But if you do want more winners, of course, you can always email us at thesmartgamble@gmail.com. That's how you can get in touch with any 3 of us if you want more of Lily's picks, because the 2 free she gave out last week. Tell us, Lily, what'd you give out?
I had Cincinnati and Tennessee.
2 underdogs.
Yep, and they both
cover.
They not only covered Tennessee outright won.
So did the Bengals.
Yes, they did. That's right.
Two dogs that won outright with fairly big lines, so you had no worry of covering.
Right. I mean, Cincinnati spanked Baltimore 41-17.
I am becoming a bigger and bigger Cincinnati fan. I don't know about you guys.
I always have been, and let me tell you, I just have to be a woman for a minute. A girl. I love their uniforms. I have followed them forever because I love their uniforms.
So we'll be waiting Hayden's pick. So you have a cat.
Yes.
You're wearing a tiger leopard print Halloween costume.
Yep.
And you like the Bengals uniforms.
Yes.
Sense a theme here. There's a theme going on here.
Yes.
Just
The feline theme.
Just a little bit of a theme sensing here. So yeah, as you mentioned, we've been just doing this for 1 week, but I think we're off to a fairly good start here. I'll toot my own horn for a second. I am a Giants fan, but I did give out 2 Giants players to score touchdowns last week, and they both nailed it with Dante Pettis and Devontae Booker too. So
Awesome.
hopefully we can keep that going. We can keep you guys coming. We are now listed on YouTube. You can go and like and subscribe there so you know every time that an episode is uploaded. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts, so you can like and subscribe there as well. So you never have to wait to see when the episode is uploaded, and you can give us some feedback again at the Smart Gamble podcast.com. So
Yep.
what do you say? We move into the week 8 slate, guys?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Fantasy.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, with the trade deadlines coming up in a lot of leagues, is there anyone that you have that you feel we should trade for?
Right. So as I mentioned, like we're almost halfway through the season, crazy enough. So trade deadlines, depending on where your leagues is, the kind of changes based on league to league. But some guys you probably should have an eye on. You obviously want to sell high and buy low. You don't want to, try and trade for a player that's going to cost you way too much and it's just going to burn out the rest of your team and only have this guy. So I'm going to give you 2 guys I think value is kind of low right now, but might help your team out going forward and into the playoffs. One is Antonio Gibson, running back for the Washington football team. Nagging shin injury right now. Don't really, like to deal with injured players too often. But this guy, second year in the league, is, in my opinion, a probably top 6, at least top 5 running back in the league when healthy. If you're in a PPR league, this dude should be productive out of the backfield catching passes as well. He hasn't been the Antonio Gibson we expected this season, but I think his value is low enough right now that you could trade for him and actually get a decent value once Washington figures out this offense. I mean, they've been dealing with quarterback issues from the preseason. Obviously, Heineke's slated. He's the guy now, but I think Gibson will turn it around at some point. And I think you can get him low enough right now to possibly get a, RB1 kind of guy on your team for a lesser value. One more guy, kind of similar, bigger name though. You will never have an easier time, maybe in his entire career, to trade for Patrick Mahomes right now. If the Patrick Mahomes owner in your league is frustrated with his season so far, and especially after last week, myself being one, I'm frustrated. You might not ever have a better chance to trade for Patrick Mahomes, who has a very easy schedule coming up over the next 4 weeks, including a matchup with my Giants this Sunday.
Right.
If you're one piece away from thinking you got a championship team and that one piece is quarterback, Patrick Mahomes might actually be available for you. And I know he's been not the Mahomes we thought this year. I know the Chiefs have struggled. I don't care. I would trade for Patrick Mahomes if he's available.
Okay, so who are some sneaky starts this week?
Right. So a couple of guys that might have some value, either daily fantasy or just guys that you're kind of deciding between. Kirk Cousins is maybe having the most under the radar season ever. I know he gets a lot of flack because he's struggles in prime time, struggles in the playoffs, hasn't really won that big game. And it's kind of dorky. But Kirk Cousins is having a phenomenal season, had a great week last week. And against Dallas's defense this Sunday, they're 26th ranked versus the pass this season so far. The weapons he's got with Thielen and Jefferson, I would definitely start Kirk Cousins in daily, or especially if you've got him sitting on your bench to decide between us and someone else. Definitely start Kirk Cousins. Another guy real quick I'll add, David Johnson for Houston. They just shipped out Mark Ingram back to the New Orleans Saints. That should free up some more space for David Johnson. There's only really Philip Lindsay in that backfield now between the two. And I know he's not the guy I remember from the Cardinals, but I do remember that guy from the Cardinals. And Houston's also, right? Houston's offense has been better than we thought it would be this year, right?
Yes.
Like everyone thought they wouldn't win a single game this season. And I think they've surprised some people. I mean, I'm not saying they're a good team, but they've been competitive in their games. So look out for maybe David Johnson as a real sneaky start.
Right. So who are some players to avoid this week, Norm?
Right. This one,
You're
kind of tough matchups. And this is a guy that a lot of people loved coming into the season. I know this entire offense people had thought might turn around. I think a lot of people pointing the finger at Matt Nagy, the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I'm avoiding Allen Robinson this week. One of the most sought after guys going into drafts. Thought he would finally really bring him the Allen Robinson that we know out in Chicago. I don't like the matchup this week against San Francisco. Very, very tough against the pass. And he's been practicing more, but he's also dealing with an injury. He's got an injured ankle. I would avoid Allen Robinson, who's a guy that you usually start. I might even think about sitting him depending on who else you have on your bench in a season-long fantasy, but I'm definitely avoiding him in daily fantasy. Another guy, again, tough matchup. They've had arguably the best tight end of all time on their team, the New England Patriots. I think Bill Belichick knows how to stop tight ends. I'm avoiding Jared Cook this week on the Los Angeles Chargers. Too many other weapons for Herbert to throw the ball around, and New England's only averaging letting up 2.5 catches to tight ends this season. Jared Cook's had a pretty solid season for Los Angeles so far, but I'm avoiding Jared Cook.
Okay, let's jump into Super Bowl predictions.
Right.
CJ, who do you
Well,
like?
folks, we are in week 8, so obviously it's very, very early. A lot of things can change, but I'll tell you a couple of teams that I love looking at right now. I think the Ravens have that it factor. I'm not quite sure what it is about that. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is a big, big piece of that puzzle.
Right.
In the AFC, I think it'll probably come down between Baltimore and Buffalo. I like Baltimore to get through the AFC, and I like them to meet Green Bay of all teams. I know we have Tom Brady out there in Tampa Bay, but I think Aaron Rodgers pretty much the other night proved that this guy is the most valuable commodity in the league right now. You can give him a bunch of high school players and he'll win a game for you. So I like Green Bay versus Baltimore right now in the Super Bowl.
Okay. What about you, Norm?
I said I'd like to see that Super Bowl. That would be a fun Super Bowl. I agree with everything you just said, CJ. And as we're going around, I'm like, there's a lot of good teams on both sides. AFC, I might be showing my favoritism with my guy I said to trade for. I still don't count out the Chiefs. I think they get it right, and I still think they are the most talented team, not only in the AFC, but in the entire league. So I'm still sticking with my guns preseason. You may ask me in 4 weeks, I might change it. But as of right now, I'm still sticking with the Kansas City Chiefs to come out of the AFC. And I think I've mentioned it. I have an actual Super Bowl preseason ticket with the Cardinals to win it all. So until they're eliminated, they're my NFC representatives. I know they struggled against who you got, CJ, with the Packers on Thursday night, but Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, they're just too talented on offense. I know J.J. Watt just went down. That's a little blow to the defense, but I'm predicting a Chiefs-Cardinals real offensive Super Bowl.
And just like one point, Norm, that I wanted to get back to you on a little bit with KC. I mean, I love KC's weapons as well, but is that offensive line going to hold up? And maybe even their defensive line, can they stop people? I think that's really the big thing that's stopping them right now is the fact that they really, in the trenches, are not winning those battles.
100%. The offense is the offensive line is really struggling to protect Mahomes. We saw him, get knocked delirious pretty much last Sunday. And that's not a good thing to happen to your $500 million quarterback. But I think Mahomes is having to do too much. If you look at how the Kansas City defense is ranked, they are either 31st or 32nd in pretty much every defensive category. So they do have to get that right. I do believe Mahomes is trying to do too much. Maybe this past week was kind of a literal knock to the head of like, just be yourself. Just try and do what, comes to you. Don't try and do too much. I'm sticking with them now, but I'm definitely leaning towards, if I had to change one, that's the one I'm leaning towards changing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have the most giveaways in the NFL. They have 17 giveaways.
Yeah,
Uh,
which
Right.
is crazy to explain that, because
It
that
is.
was not their problem in the past.
Yeah,
No.
Mahomes, I believe, I'll try and pull it up real quick. Mahomes has already, I know for a fact, more interceptions than he did all of last season. And I
Incredible.
think he pulled that out like last week. He's already in the double digits. He's got so he's just shy. He's got 9 interceptions. I believe he only had like 7 all of last season. So that's when you've got a bad defense and you're then putting them out on the field a whole bunch.
Mm.
That's not a good formula for winning a
Recipe
football
for
game.
disaster for sure.
So out of those teams that we've mentioned, I know Lily, you've got the NFL Network power rankings.
Yes.
Where do those teams fall? And is there a team that we didn't mention? I think there is one team where we didn't mention. CJ might have mentioned them, but he didn't pick them. That if I had to switch my Chiefs pick, I think I might switch them to.
All right. So this is as of last week. So we don't even include Thursday night game.
Right.
Last week, Arizona's 1,
Hmm.
Okay.
Tampa Bay's 2, Buffalo is 3, Dallas is 4, and the Rams are 5.
Ooh, interesting.
That's
Okay.
very interesting.
That is extremely interesting because none of us mentioned Buffalo. I think CJ, you actually might have mentioned Buffalo, but you didn't pick them.
Hmm.
You took Baltimore. But Dallas and the Rams, none of us even went that way.
No. Now, again, I love both of those teams. I think both of those teams have something to give. And I'll tell you one thing that one team that probably shouldn't be in the top 5, but it's worth mentioning. What about the old school Tennessee Titans? I mean, those guys will run it down your throat. They play great defense, and they basically protect the quarterback to say, hey, look, Tannehill, run it most of the time and throw it when you have to. Make a big throw here and there. Tennessee is the real deal. I'm not sure if they're going to beat Baltimore or Buffalo in the playoffs, but they will give you a real difficult time in the playoffs for sure.
They did just beat the Chiefs and Buffalo as well. So
Back to back, I believe.
Yep.
So
them both
it's not like it's something they haven't done already. And as long as Derrick Henry's healthy, they can just hand him the ball 25 times a game and hope that they good luck stopping them.
Right.
I think that's the one worry, and I think that's what people get shied away from. Is he's on pace, Derrick Henry, for over 500 carries this season. That's tough to last all the way into February.
They are ranked 10th, by the way.
Okay.
10th. Wow.
Yep. Green Bay is 6, Cincinnati 7, Ravens 8, Chargers 9.
Cincinnati ranked higher than Tennessee.
Wow.
Amazing, right?
When was the last time the Bengals were power ranked that high? Boomer Esiason was the quarterback.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there might be a bit of a bias. Teams like Tennessee, who again, I'm an old school guy. I love the power running game and so forth, and throw it to your tight ends, play action passes. This is a passing league where people throw for 500 yards, with not a problem. Tennessee is one of those run first kind of teams. And I kind of wonder if there's some kind of bias against teams like that. And there aren't very many teams in the league that are like Tennessee. But I think that the fact that you have a running back is basically your best player is Derrick Henry. Can that be sustainable throughout the winter months, December and into January? And maybe a lot of people still say no
right
to that question.
Even though everyone always says when the weather gets cold, what do you got to do? Run the ball and play defense.
Exactly.
That's what they do. So,
exactly.
But everyone, I'm right there with you, and I'm guilty of it. Everyone's enamored by Joe Burrow connecting with Jamar Chase, and it's fun to watch. People like to watch that kind of football.
That too, Lily.
Well, speaking of cats,
yes,
let's transition. Is Hayden picking another cat? I know he had the Panthers last week. Somehow, some way, my Giants
they got spanked. So Hayden was wrong on that one. They got spanked by the Giants. It was like 25-3, right?
Something
that
like
game
that.
was a lot closer than the final score says. I mean, that game was was it 15-3? It was a really weird score game for a while. There was a safety involved. The Giants were not that good. They ended up winning the game. Sam Darnold, you want to talk about turnovers, could not stop turning the ball over.
Right.
But yeah, that was a really weird game. But so what do we have for this week's Hayden?
Okay. Hayden,
Introduce us to Hayden a little bit. What we got with the cat making these picks here?
all right. Hayden's lock of the week is New England.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
interesting.
chose New
Look at
England.
the Chargers.
To cover.
Okay, to
That
cover against the
is
Chargers. Of course, we're
interesting.
going against the spread here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So Hayden is very funny. He has two different meows that he does. Okay. He does he meows inga. That's like when he wants something. Okay. And then he does rare when he's like jumping up on something. So either like one Christmas day, I had dinner in my dining room. We had all the food out, the plates, the glasses, everything. Hayden jumps onto the table, and all you hear is rare.
I know the cats. They see something on a table they don't like. They had no problem pushing it off.
Right. Right.
So
That's
Hayden
funny.
is.
I got him right off the table.
So Hayden's taking the 4.5 points against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, in our pool, in me and CJ's pool, it's 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's funny again about the Patriots. Just to get a little context here, I think the Patriots might be a little bit overvalued here. I think that last time we saw the Patriots, they were beating my Jets by a
Right.
lot and so forth. But and they play some close games. They play some good teams and so forth. But I think we have that Jet game, right at the forefront of
fresh
our memory. And again, the Chargers are the real deal. I love Justin Herbert. I think that the Patriots might be a little bit overvalued here, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, they're a tough team to figure out. It's because we
Yeah.
haven't had to figure them out for 20 years now.
Mm.
It's just for 20 years, it was like, just don't bet against them. You're betting against, especially when they're at home, like just don't bet against Tom Brady at home. Now it's like, well, Mac Jones, he's shown signs. It's still Belichick, who knows? But yeah, we shall see if the Patriots cover for Hayden there.
Yeah.
I know CJ's got a pick coming up, but before we do that, Lily, I know we want to get the listeners involved here. We had the trivia question last week, and what do we got this week?
Okay, so let me go over last week first.
Right.
The line was la-di-da, la-di-da, la-la. So it was in the 1977 Best Picture, Annie Hall.
Uh-huh.
And
Annie
he-
Hall.
Diane Keaton says it.
I knew I recognized it, but it was a little before my time.
So now I'm going to do one from the 80s.
Okay.
Let me read it. And even like some of the young people, I'm sure, have seen this movie too, because it's that good. All right.
Right.
So
Yeah. Just because like you're born after a certain year, like you
Right.
go back and watch old movies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So here we go. Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was that we did wrong, but we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are.
Okay. And trust me, I actually know this one. I won't spoil the surprise, but I
Right.
know this one.
I actually think I know that one as well.
Okay. Yep, we got a $25 gift card for Dunkin' Donuts. So
So there you go.
email us at
Okay.
thesmartgamble@gmail.com.
Excellent.
All right. So let's get into, I know CJ's got a pick, but I know CJ, you want to talk again, halfway point of the season. We talked about the Super Bowl. Who's winning the MVP though?
Okay, you know something? I thought that the MVP was right for the taking this past Thursday when Kyler Murray went up against Aaron Rodgers. And Kyler Murray went up against a very depleted Packer team. And even though they had a chance at the very end, still couldn't get it done. I think he blew his chance at the top spot of this list.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers certainly has to be there. But again, I'm going back to my old school roots. There's no more valuable player to his team than King Derrick Henry. You take him off that team and they are a winless team.
You got
So
it?
right now I'll be old school and I'll take the running back Derrick Henry.
Me too. I'm with you on that one, CJ. Definitely.
I want to. I think if we were actually still going by what it stands for, most valuable player, that's what MVP stands for. It should go to Derrick Henry, right? Yeah, I completely agree with you. But who was the last one? Was it Adrian Peterson, the last one to win MVP?
He might be. I'm not quite sure about that, but he would certainly be in the conversation again. And somehow I think Walter Payton is rolling over in his grave, and Emmitt Smith is rolling his eyes because all these great running backs who were so valuable to their teams,
Jim Brown.
now all of a sudden
yeah,
now all of a sudden in a quarterback driven league, they aren't even considered. And I think it's crazy to not think that these guys are important to the teams.
Yeah.
That's why I don't. He's got my vote. I just if I had to pick who's actually gonna win it right now so far through the season, maybe it is recency bias because we just saw him on Thursday, and you mentioned it as well, CJ, talking about the game. What about the reigning MVP? What about Aaron Rodgers? Has he done anything for anyone to say to dethrone him?
I would agree with you. I think Aaron Rodgers is the man right now, as far as who in the eyes of the voters would pick today.
Everyone says, he had a horrible week 1, and everyone was jumping on his back, and he doesn't want to be in Green Bay anymore, yada yada yada. But all he's done since then is win football games and put the team on his back, and receivers down. Chicago, he's running in, yelling at fans and stuff like that. I mean, for my money right now, he'd be my pick to win MVP.
Yeah, speaking of that rant that he did with the Chicago fans, he basically was trolling him. I still own you. I still own you. I can see Lily doing that to some of her enemies. Hey, I still own you.
Right. Yeah. Right. All those experts that make the picks. Right. We're gonna get into Lily's picks right now, in a second here. But I think Lily has something to say to them.
I have something. We all have something to say to all the so-called experts out there. Ready? Suck it.
Fuck it. The experts are right here. Our picks, they're so good they should be illegal.
Right.
Exactly.
But CJ, do you have a pick as well?
This week, I like to look at teams who are desperate for a win. We just talked about the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're looking up at the Chargers, looking up at the Raiders right now. They have a team right now that they can get healthy against. That's my air quotes. I love Kansas City to blow out the Giants this week. And again, the Giants, kind of a bad team. So you don't have bad teams who win 2 games in a row. They got their win last week. I think the Chiefs come in there and steamroll the Giants this week. So give the 9.5 points and take the Chiefs.
And Kansas City's ranked 14th, by the way.
14th.
Yep. Never thought you'd
Despite
see
the
that,
record.
right?
I would never. And you look at their record. The only reason they're ranked even 14th is because they're the Chiefs. If they were any other team, they'd be lower.
That's true.
I think that goes to show that I think a lot of people agree with CJ and kind of what I said before too. Just saying that we haven't seen the real Chiefs yet. We might against the Giants though.
Right.
I got a feeling.
All right, now time for some more winners, and coming off 2 huge ones last week, it's Lily's getting lucky with Lily in her lock of the week.
Get lucky with Lily.
Ooh,
Come on now.
I like it.
Bring the heat. Bring the heat, Lily.
Oh yeah, always, honey. You know that. So anyway, my pick of the week is New Orleans Saints.
All right.
It's Tampa Bay. In my pool, Tampa Bay's favored by 5.5, but at Las Vegas it's 5. So I'm picking the Saints this week.
Okay. Interesting. That's an interesting. Tampa Bay is, we know they're the reigning Super Bowl champs, but New Orleans has played them tough no matter who the quarterback is. We know Drew Brees is no longer there, but and that game is in. Is that game in New Orleans?
That game is in
New Orleans.
It's in New Orleans.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so they are the home team. They're home dog this week.
Right, home dog, and the
Home
Superdome is. I mean, is there a bigger home field advantage than the Superdome? Maybe Green Bay when it's snowing.
Right.
And a nice little side note is that Jameis Winston goes back to his old team, to face his old team, but he played with Tampa for his first, 8 years of the league or whatever it
Right.
was. So there's gonna be something there as well. So I think I like that pick, Lily.
Right. You know, I mentioned the revenge games last week. I know DeAndre Hopkins had an okay game. He didn't quite blow up like I thought he would.
Mhm.
But that matters. That definitely matters. And I know Jameis Winston's kind of been a low-hanging fruit joke for the last few years of his career. He's not playing terrible football.
Yeah, Jameis Winston is a little bit of an enigma. Again, he's got a wonderfully talented arm. He can make every single throw. His problem in the past has been decision making.
Right.
So if you keep him grounded and you keep him sticking with the game plan, he can really tear you apart. So I do like that pick.
One of the most fun seasons I've ever seen was that last year or 2 years ago when he joined I think the only member ever of the 30-30 club. 30 touchdowns thrown and 30 interceptions thrown.
Yeah.
I think he had 5,000 yards too.
Amazing.
Unreal.
Crazy stat.
Unreal. All right, Lily, if our listeners, our viewers want some more picks from you besides that Saints pick, where can they get those at?
thesmartgamble.com. We're hoping it'll be up and running like within a couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Smartgamble.com. Till then, reach out, email us at thesmartgamble@gmail.com for
Right.
any feedback, any obviously to answer the movie quote question. If you want to give that out, do you have that one more time?
Yes.
We'll give that out one more time. If you want fantasy advice, if you want CJ's advice, if you want Lily's advice, anything, smartgamble@gmail.com right now.
Yep. Okay, here we go for the movie line of the week. Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was that we did wrong. But we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are. All right.
I think I know that one. I think I know that. If you think you know that one too, smartgamble@gmail.com.
Yep. You'll win a $25 Dunkin' Donuts gift card.
All right. There you have it. Final thoughts, guys. Week 8, Halloween.
It should be a great week.
We got some
again.
tricks. We got some tricks, and I'm sure the Chiefs are going to have some tricks against my Giants. That's not going to be a treat. But
I think one trick that you might look to expect, and this is a bold prediction on my part, I think Detroit gets their first win this week against the Eagles.
Ooh,
That's a trick, baby.
a lot of local viewers and listeners won't like that one, but might agree.
I just made a lot of friends in
agree with
Motown
that
and
one.
Detroit, so we'll see how that goes this weekend.
Yeah.
A
we'll
lot
see.
of crossover on the coaching staffs there as well. So that
Yeah.
should be an interesting one.
They covered last week.
They did.
They did.
They did. Heartbreaking. They've been losing some heartbreaking games.
Yeah.
Might be the best winless team we've seen in a while.
The best 0-17 we've ever seen.
All right. Well, I think that does it for the week 8 edition here of the Smart Gamble. For Lily, for CJ, I'm Norm. Enjoy Halloween. Enjoy week 8.
Yep.
Hopefully you get some winners. Hopefully you make some money. Hopefully you win your fantasy games. And we will talk to you next week. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And we'll see you then.
Okay.
Enjoy.
I'm cooking stuffed shells and meatballs tonight, so come on over.
Let's do it.